right, welcome to this session of Capital HQ. Today, I'm very excited to have Adam Horvath, leading figure in the tech industry. As a partner and CSO at Tapia Foundry and director at Coding IT, Adam's expertise spans across venture studio operations, technology consulting, and software development. His journey through various roles at Thomson Reuters, Fitch Ratings, H2K Gaming has equipped him with a unique perspective on the intersection of technology, business development, and strategy. So today's conversation will dive a bit into his personal journey, his questions around digitalization and technology solutions, and specifically around coding IT and how they help companies build great software. So welcome to today's session, Adam.
No, hi. Thanks, Hugo. Thanks for the time. And yeah, I'm very excited to share that information with you.
Fantastic. So let's get straight into it. It'd be great to understand a bit about how your diverse experiences in different organizations that have been mentioned, such as Thomson Reuters and Fitch Ratings, shaped your approach to technology in general, as well as business development.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my journey, the start of my career path, was a non-traditional one when it comes to digitalization and the tech industry itself. So I started as a solicitor, so I'm a European qualified solicitor coming from a legal background, and then worked for various law firms at the beginning of my career. But I guess what was quite lucky for me, because given I had a huge interest in technology, and digital transformation and how businesses take on that journey in general. The legal industry was a bit backwards and laid back when it came to adopting different digitalization and digitalization pathways. So I joined these law firms on the kind of verge and dawn of this digital transformation journey of the legal industry. So I could see different SaaS solutions, SaaS providers, digital experts coming on board at different law firms, trying to aid them and give them, advice on how that transformation should be done. We saw some mistakes being made, burning budgets, upfront budgets paid for non-delivery or false promises. But just, in general, within that sector, no one had a real expertise in what it should entail, what a successful digital transformation and technology solution implementation journey should entail. So having that knowledge and kind of observing what's happening in the scene, I decided to move on and take on a more business, corporate and transformative kind of, related path and career path. So I joined Fitch Ratings. On the FNR, so finance and risk, country ratings, and business creation within a country, kind of sector. So we helped the rise, countries and businesses within those countries to find footing from a digital and technology point of view. How to set up processes, ERP systems, and just how to bloom from a technology point of view, and then have a solid foundation from a technology point of view to set up a successful business. So that gave me a good foundation, and then I moved on to Thomson Reuters. And then I aided two sides of the business, or the larger corporation, where I kind of climbed the corporate ranks, finishing as a strategic manager. So we were overseeing all the strategic transformation moves from a digital point of view for all of our clients within the financial, operational, and legal industries. So yeah, we dealt with various SaaS solutions, home-built technology solutions, and consulting on really the digital transformation journey of all of these clients in different sectors. So I guess in a nutshell, and that's my professional experience. And then I met my co-founding partners when I was doing my MBA in London, at CAS Business School. And we thought that we can offer something to the market, bring values from a deep business understanding and having a deep business understanding and also having a deep technological understanding, and marrying the two and offering an end-to-end solution to our partners and future clients, from having a very deep consulting approach, and then how do we transform once we understand the problem statement and business needs of our clients into okay, now we can develop software solutions or tech enablement for you as a
Fantastic.
client. Yeah.
Fantastic. I was about to ask you what motivated your transition, but I think you just answered it there.
Yeah.
So let's go straight into your expertise, right? So, the technology landscape is evolving super quickly, right? What it was 2 years ago is completely different to what it is today, and it's accelerating. So, what are, in your opinion, the key digitalization trends that startups must adapt to stay competitive? And I know that these trends are probably only going to be around for 6 months to 1 year, right? So,
Mm.
that's my first question. The second one is, how do startups and founders stay on top of trends?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good questions. And these it's a very very exciting, and that's one of the reasons that we act in this industry, because we have a very high risk tolerance, if you like, as a business, and we like to aid entrepreneurs and founders of business. On our board, we have serial co-founders as partners, opening their third, fourth businesses. So we have that in our DNA. But the reason why I'm saying is because these entrepreneurs coming to us when they want to develop an MVP, for example, with different ideas. Some of them, they have a very good understanding on what should be happening from a technology implementation or digital kind of transformation point of view. Some of them, they don't have an idea, but they have a vision that what that solution should do for the business, or what that MVP should entail, and how it should then scale towards a go-to-market product, for example. So we like to differentiate the thought process first and understand that what's happening. In terms of trends, what we see is quick, effective solutions, and finding a market that quickly understands what is your solution about. I think there's a lot of information going around nowadays, and you can access, obviously, throughout the internet, a lot of information about technology. People have different understanding of technology, AI, machine learning. What are these solutions, or how can I use them for my business? We can obviously talk about AI and machine learning. These are totally different, interpretations and approaches to a business. But we have entrepreneurs that they want to have usually they want to have an MVP or a product line that solves a immediate need very quickly through technology, through intelligent technology. And I mean by intelligent technology that a solution, it can be a workflow process. It can be a solution to a common problem that from time to time arises in a business. Doesn't have to be a day-to-day problem, but something that can kind of proactively assess the situation, analyze what's happening, learn from that, and adopt to the client's needs. So cutting out multiple phases of manual labor, or even human thinking, in that sense. So they want to have something that is quick to understand. Everyone can use it in a very quick fashion, and they understand the value proposition behind that, because it solves a problem immediately for them. So yeah, having a combination of those 4 or 5 elements, I think that these are the questions, or almost 90% that we're getting from co-founders when it comes to MVP development. Now, how they reach that, and whether it makes sense to make an overly efficient 1 to 2 to 3 kind of route development, that's the question of the matter, and we can assess that with them whether if it's useful or not. Sometimes it requires 6, 7 steps once until you reach your client base, and generate revenue from that solution. But yeah, I would say efficiency, and intelligence, and having an intelligent workflow that learns from previous even mistakes and previous interactions with clients, and improves on a continuous basis. Yeah.
So I think, tell me if I'm wrong, right? But a lot of what you've mentioned is a lot about the back end, right?
Yes.
How important, and you say, I picked up on what you said, making it easy to use for the end user. How important is UI UX in this AI first world, this machine learning first world? Do you think it will be as important as it was 5 years ago? Is it going to be more important, or is it just going to stay the same importance? What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, very good question. So it's interesting because all the conversations that we're having with entrepreneurs and people that want to build MVPs, for example, or even other businesses that we're aiding on a monthly basis, that they have solid structures, they always start with UI UX questions, and I guess by now. And like you said, 5 years ago, it was a big buzzword, UI, UX. Everyone was learning what is that when it comes to software development or tech enablement. But by now, everyone is kind of familiar with these two phrases as what both angle does for your solution. But then I think looking under the hood and what is the next kind of step into the back end? What is it going to do for you? Because something to look good and being user friendly, that's super important. And I think nowadays what we see from clients and kind of when we're doing like go to market strategies for these for these entrepreneurs that they want to build MVPs is everyone wants like I said, quick solutions, but they want to understand how to use them very quickly. So that UI journey and your business identity is very important. So I would say both that plus the UI and the UX and the back end, front end, back end together. I think it has to come in one package without a doubt. It's not even a question nowadays. I think it will stay relevant, but introducing AI and machine learning, like I said earlier, it will evolve that thinking, and I think less and less people will talk about just UI UX. It will be almost like a given that you have to have a solid foundation on both of them.
Yeah, and I found this crazy because I don't have any technical expertise, right? In this, and I don't have technical expertise. The other day I was playing with ChatGPT and the new GPTs, the store, and I was writing a blog, and I went and I found this thing that can create a website based on what you've told them, and then the website wasn't great, right? But it created a fully functioning website where I could click on different buttons to get to my blog with a homepage. Obviously, the images are DALL-E generated, which sometimes are great, but in that context, it wasn't. But it did it in 15 seconds, right? And I told it to create circular minimalist buttons, and it did. And I don't know how to code, right? So I found that kind of crazy. But yeah.
No, just onto that. That's very exciting what you're saying, actually, because we when we use ChatGPT as well, and we're trying to use AI, and I think down the line, just to dissect a bit, what's going to be very important in any workplace is that having people that are capable of using and utilizing ChatGPT, for example, or any AI, right, to help them to think proactively on purpose for the business and use them in the right way. But you're absolutely right. We actually found we kind of hit a roadblock with one of the coding and software development projects that we had. And then, we tapped into our network from a technological point of view. We got different advices, and we just thought that, okay, we got this solution. It makes sense, but let's just run it through by, AI, ChatGPT. How would it code it? And it literally, like you said, in 20 seconds, coded the solution in an almost perfect way. So, it's then you realize that, okay, that's where we are. That's what we're dealing with. But building on that, I think what we actually also recognized at Coding IT is that's why it's very, very important to have a deep business understanding and the business identity, an understanding of the business identity of this of the startup, of the entrepreneur and the vision. Because nowadays, I could code, you could code, everyone can code almost to 99% proficiency. So it's a tool. It's not a mean, it's a mean to your goal rather than the actual offering when it comes to tech solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And we discussed UI UX and the back end as one complete package, and that should be the foundation of any tech companies when they're thinking about their product. Now, how important is the thought of scalability? So maybe cloud solutions in terms of scalability from the foundation. In your opinion, should startups spend a bit more time building a product on a solution that is scalable might spend more money at the start, might take more time, or should they release their MVP quicker and then focus and then worry about scalability in the future once they have received funding?
Yeah, and I think and I know you have other questions lined up, but this is one of the most important questions that we're actually dealing with on a day-to-day basis when we're discussing projects for entrepreneurs, because we, as a team, and that's the advice that we're giving to these startups and entrepreneurs when it comes to building MVPs, is we believe in a lean kind of framework and a reverse iteration approach. So we kind of follow, if you want to conceptualize it, a build, learn, build, measure, learn kind of cycle. So what we advise is yes, let's make it happen. Let's have a quality, let's say version 1 of that MVP, but let's release it. Let's have let's have testing partners first. Let's get information and feedback early on. Obviously, the key functionalities has to be agreed on at the beginning, and it has to work, right? We can't just send something low quality to these testing partners or to the market, but kind of in a safe environment, send it out, get feedback immediately from your future or potential customer base. And then what we do is that we gather that information immediately and we reverse iterate from that. So then we start, scalability from the moment that you sent out that first version of the MVP to your client base. And it's just it's much more cost efficient as well, but also you spend your money better because after the first phase you have immediate information on what should be iterated, and you spend money on relevant feedback and update rather than you trying to figure out what would be best. You spend a lot of money on it, and then the rubber hits the road, so to speak, and you get a bad client feedback. And there are some features maybe that you spent a lot of money on that is not needed in that given phase. So yeah, that would be our advice, and that's just our perspective on it.
Fantastic. I think those three come in. Yeah. So those three things we talked about: UI, UX, backend, and scalability. But the fourth one, I think, which is really important, is I'd love for you to touch on, is cybersecurity or security in general, right? Whether that's data protection, cybersecurity. How important is that from the foundation of a business? When maybe you have one or two clients, is that crucial then, or is it crucial for later down the line?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we think security is always very important, especially when you're dealing with for example, in the financial industry, you're dealing with not just financial but personal sensitive information of your clients. So it really depends on the industry. If you're dealing with an industry like this, then from the get-go you have to have kind of end-to-end securities in place. How you store your data, how do you extract data? If it's through machine learning, for example, how the computer or the software is instructed to extract that information in a safe way. So yes, I would say it's industry, dependent, but sooner or later, if you grow your business, and obviously they aim to have a very successful business, a large organization, if that happens, then you will have to have securities in place. Now you do it from, through third parties. There are great security partners that we partnered up with, and they just have an end-to-end security solution for all phases of business growth, off the shelf, if you like. Or you want to develop something on your own, it's a budget conversation. Right. But the qualities are out there in the market right now to use in any in any development phase of your business. Okay,
great. Great. Look, let's move on to more about AI, around the relevance of it and its implementation challenges. So what do you believe are the primary challenges startups face when implementing AI technologies, and how can they overcome these hurdles?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I touched on it earlier. I think what we see is people have maybe the wrong understanding of AI. We come across a lot of companies that they say we have AI, and we developed AI. And, when you really, and I think down the line, when everyone will have a better understanding of what is really AI, and you will see more chat GPTs evolving, then it's going to be even more important to have a really good understanding of, okay, have you instructed a a software workflow procedure through machine learning to do proactive learning for your workflows and your business, or you actually developed an AI that AI should mimic cognitive functions of a human, right? And proactively build things for you, just like a chat GPT does. But I think we are very far from a technology point of view, as globally, to have a fully fledged AI. And obviously it costs billions to develop that. So when a company comes to us, or an entrepreneur saying that I have an AI, I developed it, we always a bit cautious of, okay, is that real an AI, or have you implemented a machine learning function that is capable of AI like functionalities? So I think that's the first conversations that we're having. And the hurdle really, if you like, comes there to have an understanding of what we're trying to utilize, AI, machine learning, for example, for within the business, and how we're trying to implement that. And then to answer your question, the biggest hurdles is if it comes to, let's say, 99% of the time it is through machine learning, right? And instructing a piece of software to do something for your business, and, learn from past mistakes, past, endeavors with your client base, and workflows within your business, and build upon that, and give you a better version of these workflows every single week or day. Then, the biggest hurdle is, how do we instruct them? How do we make sure that it actually serves your business purposes? So finding that business purpose, and then instructing the software to do, kind of proactive learnings and efficiency improvements based on the day-to-day work that it does for your function. But it's an absolute necessity. I think that's the future. You can already see that how these workflows outscale just humans and human labor, and how they eliminate human error from any of these workflows. So yeah, definitely that's the way forward, and that these are the, I think, going back to your original question, recognition, identification, and what's needed, and how do you instruct that piece of software to be AI like,
Right.
and having to, and being able to think for you in a proactive way, from a
Right.
learning point of view.
Right. You mentioned those three things, but I want to touch also upon data, right? So
Yes.
how important is data quality in AI projects? I've seen talks about synthetic data being talked about. Obviously, I'm not in this space as far as you are, but yeah, I just want to find out a bit, because some startups might not have access to that data, right? But they still need to train their models.
Yeah.
So how important is data quality in AI projects? And also, what's on the horizon for synthetic data?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's a big buzzword, as you said, synthetic data. And, everyone would like to have synthetic data that it's absolutely high quality. We harnessed it from the right solutions, from the right workflows throughout the day and throughout the week, or expansion of our business. And we use it for our, growth goals, and to our growth potential in the best way. But everything that we do, whether we implement, machine learning or AI-like solutions, or any technology solutions through that digital transformation, phase, for an MVP build or for an existing company, is always the end conversation is always data, because you're always able to harness data, whether if it's synthetic or is not so relevant data. At the end of the day, that's the matter of the conversation, or that's the question at the end of the day. But how do you utilize that data? Because you will always have data, and you never think about it, that how actually easy to harness that. Then how do you conceptualize it, and how do you build on that down the line? So I think the best performing businesses, what we've seen, were the ones that proactively from the get-go thought about, okay, that's going to be my MVP, is going to solve an X problem, but I'm going to harness data from the get-go, because we don't know what kind of offerings we can make out of that data. And as a baseline, we can just improve client engagement, efficiencies on a day-to-day basis, and on an operational basis as well. So yeah, how do you harness that data? How do you make it the highest quality, and how do you then use it? And that's the kind of breakdown that we take through our clients usually. But it's absolutely, to your point, is the future. We've seen entrepreneurs that they had an MVP idea and they started gathering data on a solution. And actually, the data collected spawned another offering that was bigger than the MVP itself, just going through testing partners and a go-to-market strategy. So, I would definitely have a keen eye on and an open eye on data that is collected through that journey, and trying to utilize it in a financial savvy way immediately, to see whether there is another offering on the back of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just from my perspective, right, from my little level, I'm trying to implement something whereby we have because right now for customer success, that's my current role, right? Helping clients make the most use of our software. We have so many siloed datas, right? Whether it's qualitative or quantitative, it's all over the place. I'm trying to pull it all together into one database. And I don't have any technical expertise or experience, but I think just having been able to put together, for example, the amount of time a client spends on the platform and the feature usage and all of this has helped put together, for example, a health score, which allows us to make better and more informed decisions, be proactive instead of reactive. And that's just on a small level, right? So I can only imagine companies who are ML / AI driven from the get-go, what they can do with that sort of data. So it definitely is very, very interesting. With what we talked in mind, we talked about how startups today should implement those as base strategies. What advice would you give to startups that are already along the way, right? Who are maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the line and are looking to integrate AI into their existing business models? Yeah.
I mean, the first question we ask when we come across businesses like this is that, first of all, what are you trying to achieve? Why do you think that would, does it add value to you right now? And I think that kind of business analysis comes to play at that point, from a financial, operational, sales growth point of view. Would it add value to you? Or, some companies, they're trying to, I'm not saying that, it's not needed, it's definitely needed. But some companies, they sometimes we find that they're trying to be trendy. They're trying to implement everything. They buy SaaS solutions because they have a bit of money. And I think real thinking has to come to play, because nowadays you have so much offering out the market and so many people give you so many different advices that, it's easy to burn your budget and money. So is it the right thing, first of all, that you want to do? And second of all, what do you have? You must have something in place. Then how do you bootstrap that information, that data that you gathered, or all these technology solutions that you have? And why and how do you want to take them to the next step? I guess these are the very basic but fundamental questions.
I guess this is where my next part, the next section of this interview is going to go, is how you guys come into this, right? So, first things first, I like to talk a bit about Tapia Foundry. That's the parent company of Coding IT, which is kind of the subject of this second part of this interview. But I'd like to first touch upon Tapia Foundry. Obviously, its inception was in 2022, and has been a leader kind of in scaling fintech businesses and supporting early stage startups. Could you elaborate on a bit on the core strategy that drives Tapia Foundry in selecting and nurturing startups, especially in the fintech sector?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's right. So Coding IT is 100% owned by our holding company, which is Tapia Capital. And Tapia Capital is essentially a venture builder. But what we do is we come on board. If we obviously like your entrepreneurial idea and we see potential in it, we come on board in exchange for a sweat equity. But we work not just on the business, but in the business. So operationally, we will handhold you and work alongside with you. Now, we have different portfolio companies now, or partners. And they have different needs. So they all tech-based, largely fintech solutions, where obviously technological, build the MVP enhancement or actually just generating an MVP is key, and that's priority. So we can add the technological capabilities of coding IT and our tech team. But beyond that, we have legal, financial, sales, marketing, strategy, and all these operational capabilities that we can add to your business, depending on the scalability of your business and the phase that you are in, what you need. We put emphasis and effort from an operational point of view on that. So the aim is to obviously grow your business, get to the level that you are ready to receive, investments. You are able to receive capital, but also to attract a market. So our fundamental kind of mandate is to build a MVP that can attract a market immediately. Because it's always good to have a lot of capital and attract investors. But most of the investors, as we know, they're always looking for a company that has some traction, or has an idea how to gain traction. We're trying to kickstart businesses from an operational technical point of view to be on that level.
Okay, and just so the listeners can make that distinction, could you maybe with coding IT, do you need to be a part of Tapia Foundry to have access to it, or vice versa? How does that work?
Yeah, very good question. So Tapia Foundry, in a very simple way, it focuses on startups and scale-ups to make that entrepreneurial journey easier and obviously reach a growth potential that entrepreneur wants to see. Whether we have to put in operational capabilities or technical capabilities through coding IT, that's again, it depends on the needs. So coding IT operates on its own. It's an independent company. It basically what it does is we aid different businesses. It doesn't have to be an MVP build or a startup or a scale up. We have large telecommunication companies that we successfully partnered up with, and they are our clients. But we aid their digital transformation, technology implementation needs at any given phases of the business. We can build different platforms from scratch for them. It can be a CRM system, accounting, billing system, sales outreach platform, for instance. But also, most of our clients, what they need is like I said earlier, they already have some functionalities. They implemented machine learning, they implemented different off-the-shelf SaaS solutions, but they don't really, correspond. They don't know how to utilize them, how to, connect that ERP bubble and make it one. So we help them to bridge those gaps and build bridges between different functionalities, different teams, different channels. So, for example, one of our most recent clients, they wanted to bridge a gap between billing and accounting, and then how do they interact with their customers through the billing phase, and obviously extracting payment from them. They have more than 1,000 clients globally, and they were doing everything manually when it came to creating invoices and billing them. They had a department with 15 people that they were just using templates and creating all of that. But their accounting system, on the other hand, was really efficient and really high end. They spent a lot of money on that, implementing SaaS solutions. So that was a very efficient tool that they used. But the billing was not connected to that in the invoicing, the first kind of phase of extracting payment from their customers. So what we've done, we've rebuilt that system. We built a system from scratch that corresponded with the accounting platform that they had already in place, and they could extract data through that, how they dealt with their customer base through the billing phase, but also it made them more efficient to come up with new pricing and discounting rates, and what you talked about to have a health score for their clients from a billing point of view. Are there delays in payments? Do they have budget for the next cycle? And it just made it much more efficient for them. So that's just an example that what we've done from a build and bridging kind of point of view.
Okay, great. And before we go deeper into the other things that you guys do, I wanted to talk a bit about your pricing model. It's very different to others out there, right? So can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to think that this is one of the and what we've seen from now from clients is that one of the differentiators is how we approach pricing. And I think it comes from the overall Tapio thinking, dealing with entrepreneurs, because we understand how, budget is crucial and budget is king, especially when we're building something from scratch. And we're trying to, approach it from rather than, okay, we have, list pricing. There is a cost element to how much these services cost. But we're also trying to be very consultative when it comes to pricing and fit into cash flows. So we ask quite broad questions from our customers. What is your cash flow looking like? Beyond just, have you allocated budget to it, but how much do you spend on certain items and services throughout the month? So how can we fit into that then? And, it's a open kind of ended financial conversation and negotiation on pricing. But then, we're trying to adjust and tailor our services compared to what's needed. And sometimes, we have to strip off some capabilities and service offerings that we want to do because the budget, the cash flow doesn't allow it. But we believe in growth and fundamentals sometimes to implement fundamentals from a technology point of view. We rather spend, we rather have a client that spends less, but we provide something very high quality than, that can scale, because then, we're looking for long-term partnerships. So we have different, milestone based, if you like, project-based pricings, but we also have a subscription-based model as well. That our customers, some of them we pay a flat fee, and then for that flat fee within the month, within agreement, we do certain technology and digital transformation work for them. So it's quite open, conversation, and we're trying to find a way to help, really, rather than just, okay, that's the price and you take it or leave it, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be hurting the quality as well, because you guys have been recognized with awards in your 2 years, like the Innovation in Business Technology Innovator Awards in 2023, where you won that. So, two questions here. How do these accolades reflect on the quality and innovation of your services? And two, compared to the other business models out there, and what you've just mentioned, how do you make it so that, and taking into account that over 60% of software projects fail, and there's also a tech skills shortage. So how do you guys make it work?
Yeah. So very good question. So on the accolade side, so one of the most one of the proud ones that we won was for being innovative. So one of the newcomers to the market, to the tech market, but also being one of the most innovative when it comes to solution offerings. So, and I think what that award recognized was we trying to, it's a commitment from the business. We're trying to deliver something high quality, and then we look pricing. So first we look at quality, and then we look at pricing. It might not be a good business model all the time, but you have to draw a line in the sand. Just because most of our clients actually come to us after failing with other providers, or they try to implement something which failed. So we have to recognize the fact that they're coming out from a phase of spending money on a solution, spending money on spending time on a business relationship with a provider that didn't work out. So how do we build on that? How do we differentiate from that? How do we bring back that relationship to track alongside with the pricing model that actually drives value for them? And then when it comes to hiring, and expanding our tech team, it comes down to interviewing. We have a great CTO in place whose mandate is to bring quality and drive quality, and look at quality first, and then obviously pricing later. And we're trying to find like-minded people that they understand from the get-go that we deliver something that is high quality, and that will drive a long value or long-term value for the business, rather than punching our clients with high pricing, and if they like it, they like it. If not, not. And sharing risk as well. Sorry, just to build on that. I think it's very key that because of the high failure rate in the market of all these tech projects, we're trying to be very transparent on what we do on every single day. So the customer can see, what they're paying for, but also we have that risk of quality in place of showing them what we do for them. So, but it requires very tight project management, and that's what we're trying to do.
Great. I think, the awards exemplify that, right? So I think moving on in terms of how you guys help startups, right? Because you mentioned that you also work with telecoms, but I think let's focus on startups for a bit here. For startups at their early stage, right? How do you assist in their MVP development process? And what makes your approach, apart from the financial side, distinct in the tech development landscape?
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is obviously, like I said earlier, this kind of deep business understanding, and obviously the expertise that all the partners bring in from an entrepreneurial point of view, comes into play. We're trying to identify that. Okay, what's the problem statement of the MVP? What are we trying to achieve? And once we have that, then then that's the X factor, if you like. That's the decision making coming through all the partners on board, saying, okay, we see potential, in this MVP, in this entrepreneur. We would like to work with you. I think that's a long run for us. We would participate in this, and and building something quality for them. We see, we don't approach it in a transactional basis, if you like. We approach it in a long-term relationship. We want to help you. We want to provide something to the market, a MVP that makes a difference. And yeah, we would like to participate in that recognition journey as well, because it all adds up, right? If you do a good quality work from a technology point of view, that MVP, or from an operational point of view, that MVP will be successful, and yeah, everyone gets recognized for the work. So yeah, it's the differentiation in mindset, I think.
Okay, great. And how does coding IT ensure that the software solutions, when you work with startups, are not only tailored to their unique needs, but also ensures that they can be scalable as they grow?
Yeah. So it comes back to really the lean framework that we use, and really comes back to the reverse iteration idea that I explained earlier. So what we're trying to do is that, for example, as a use case, we built a matchmaking platform for a candidate and a hiring a company. So essentially a recruitment platform, but which brings in key differentiators from individuals, and trying to match needs on a personality base rather than just skill based. So we brought in different algorithms, and different measures from university, a teacher as well. But what I'm trying to say is that what we've done is we went out to the market. We actually picked up the phone, and we interviewed hiring managers. We interviewed HR managers in different businesses, and just talking about the idea. People love, that's what we found. They love sharing ideas. They love sharing their expertise. And if you would have a solution like this on the market, or you as a HR manager, would you be using this? Is that of a need for you? And then we just through hard labor gathered information first, and then we developed an MVP based on that, and then we released the first phase, as I said, or version 1.0. We gathered information again on that and iterated, and in that reverse iteration, and constant market feedback. And if you have to pick up the phone and get that through that, then we do that. But I guess that information flow is the key.
Right. And in your experience, we talked about technology hurdles at the start of our conversations, right? But what are the most common technological hurdles faced by startups that you work with, and how does your approach help overcome these challenges efficiently? I mean, the lean model helps, but just in general, maybe if you can pinpoint, I don't know, one or two different hurdles and how you guys overcome that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's these two intertwine, like you said. It's lead framework as well, and then getting feedback from a customer base. But I think is also the biggest hurdle is what we see is like I said first, is maybe the understanding of a product market fit. How does it fit best? What do you need to achieve to have a invincible, bulletproof product to fit the right market? Now we had examples where actual entrepreneurs, they had a great solution in place. They already built something, whether it was through a SaaS solution or a off the shelf kind of implementation, but they thought it's not good because they looked at the competitive landscape, they looked at their direct competitors, they thought that they're doing something different, and they wanted to build something from scratch and left all that money they spent on existing solutions behind. Whereas we came on board, and actually unpicking everything they had, we realized that you have a very solid solution and you can compete in the market, and you have different differentiating points than what you thought first. And it become a successful start and growth procedure for that company. And then just, I think, driving back that thought process into, you don't have to always build something new. What you have can be capitalized on. So that's one thing. And the other one is, I think, timelines. I'm talking more about operational side of things here. But like we said, the technological capabilities are there. We are language agnostic when it comes to stacks, or we have multiple different technological partners that we can tap into their networks or knowledge base. So knowledge and execution is not a problem. It's really I think is being fair to that entrepreneur. That what they want to do, and what time frame they want to achieve that, and then just hammer it home internally as well that. We're working with John. John wants this to happen in 2 months. We think from a business point of view that's realistic and it's needed. So we actually execute on it. And if you don't have, if you can't sleep at night, we can't sleep at night. But we put the hours in to execute on it. So I would say time frame and mindset that what do you really need? These are the big hurdles from a vision point of view. And then execution is funny enough is not that difficult at the end.
Great. And so that's a qualitative value add.
Yes.
Now let's go a bit into the quantitative value add, if that's okay. So for potential clients looking to understand the value addition from coding IT, could you share how you measure success and ROI in your projects, and what metrics or outcomes can clients expect when partnering with coding IT for their software development needs?
Yeah, absolutely. So every project that we take on board, we have direct, ROI measuring kind of capabilities and metrics that we put in place. So whether they want to increase, like I talked about HR efficiencies, then, we quantified, by 20%, in a given time frame. How did you improve? Why did you improve? How can we get that 20% improvement rate that you're looking for?
Right.
And on a monthly basis, through solid project management, we stick to these goals, because we, again, just coming from that entrepreneurial background, it doesn't matter if we deal with a small company or a large company, they always have needs, right? That's why they spend money on these technological solutions. So we set ROI goals from the beginning. We're talking about them, and sometimes, they're not achievable. Sometimes we achieve even better rates that they initially thought of. But it always starts off, okay, you want to increase your HR capabilities and efficiencies by 20%. How can we get there? And we measure everything, leading to that pathway through budget, through time and effort and input. And for example, I mentioned earlier with the partner that we built a billing solution for them, an accounting solution. We found out that once we bridged the gap between billing and accounting, whilst we were doing that procedure, we found out that they're actually losing, thousands of pounds every month because they can't translate data or transit data from one to another. So that was an immediate quantifiable, outcome of, okay, you're not going to lose that money anymore. That's, money not lost is earned. And so that was a great success story as well. But we're trying to have, direct KPIs on either growth rates or tangible outcomes in money saved or money earned.
Okay. And for startups interested in your services, what are the initial steps to engage with your team? And is there a process for assessing a startup specific needs from your end to align your services with their strategic tech objectives?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we love to have a conversation. We have a kind of mantra internally that there is no such a thing as bad idea. So we would like to hear about that, engaging us. So I'll provide obviously our contact details, but the initial phase is to having a conversation, a half an hour call with the team and assessing your business from a business analysis point of view. Obviously having our CTO and the tech team on the call as well, and then developing an idea of that what you need and building on it from a technological point of view. So I think a business analysis, that's the first step. And getting to know you and getting to know your idea, because there's a reason why you had that idea as an entrepreneur. So yeah, we would love to hear about that.
Great. So yeah, for anyone who's interested in speaking to Adam or the team at Coding IT, his details will be below with the link to the website. And one last question for you, Adam. So if you were to give a couple of tips, let's narrow it down to three, or else we might be here all day. um, for a founder wanting to launch their MVP or start developing their MVP, what would be the three biggest things that they should be aware of before starting?
Yeah. So I guess is the first is is about your vision. Like I said, does it solve a problem? That's the old cliche, but that's a very important. Does it solve a problem? Second, what are the capabilities internally? What do you have? Do you have is it just yourself? Do you have a team around you? Do you have anyone to tap into? Because we don't know what we don't know, right? Until you meet someone or tap into capabilities. So how can you expand that? And third, having a time frame, I think in mind, what do you want to achieve and how much budget do you have, but also, how long will it take to make it to a success? And I mean success by just launching the 1.0 version of your MVP and
Right.
to start gathering that customer feedback. So that would be these are the 3 points, but also these 3 points are also discussed in our initial phase when we're partnering up with future partners.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you very much for everyone for listening in, and thank you very much, Adam, for taking the time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, if you'd like to get in touch with Adam or his team at coding.it, all the information will be in the description, which you can find. But thank you very much, Adam.
No, much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks.